Hi, welcome to the first call. So excited. So, this is going to be really cool. Really excited. So I'm going to kick things off today. We are going to kind of go over Evergreen.
Cool.
Um, so I'm going to share my screen. There is a difference between being evergreen and having an evergreen funnel. And so I will go over those. And like I said, some of this may be things you already know, but just in case, we'll start from the beginning. So when you have something on Evergreen, that means that anyone can go to your website at any time and buy your product. The doors are always open, it's always available. Now, if you compare that to live launch, that's when people are only opening the doors during select times of the year. So people have to participate in your live launches in order to buy your product. This is like the Amy Porterfield method, right? And then an evergreen funnel is kind of this hybrid between the two, where your product is not available for sale on your website at any time. It's only available when somebody gets into your funnel. They'll have a limited time offer window to buy your product. But if somebody just went to your website and typed in like katekordsmeyer.com/slash 6FBA, they would not be able to just buy 6FBA. However, with an evergreen funnel, I'm still able to sell it 365 days a year, 24/7. So it's the funnel piece that's sort of this gatekeeper and what separates it between just being evergreen. And I know, like, I had a friend who she said, "Oh, I'm going evergreen." And then after she did it, I was like, "Well, yeah, you are evergreen. Like, anybody now can buy your product at any time." But she's not using a funnel. There's no nurturing, there's no limited time, whatever. So there's a big difference. And generally speaking, especially when you're talking about online courses and products that are over a couple $100s, doing it just the straight evergreen way is not going to be your best marketing strategy. And we'll get into that. Um, but basically, a good evergreen funnel is just a collection of videos, landing pages, and emails that's going to build a relationship with your potential customer. It's going to lead them through this journey. So they start off at the top, and you're like, there's the actual funnel. And you're leading them through this journey in a very non-salesy way. And it's always on, it's always working for you. This would be different from like a closed funnel that is only active a couple times a year, which is that live launch model we talked about. So the reason why I want to specify the difference here is because, like I said, just going evergreen is not going to be a great marketing strategy, but using an evergreen funnel can really like 10x your results. And so I want to go over some of the benefits of doing an evergreen funnel and why this is so important. So the first part is because you're building this know, like, and trust factor. So if you just send someone directly to your sales page, even if they're a warm lead, you're not really nurturing them. But especially if you're like running Facebook ads or something and it's just going straight to your sales page, you're going to have a very low conversion rate, if any at all, because there's no nurturing there. And when you're selling anything, particularly something over $500, but even if it's $100 or more, really, it's going to take a bit of nurturing to get them to trust you enough to buy from you. So that's where the funnel comes in. And of course, content marketing as well is a great way to be continuously building that know, like, and trust factor with your blog posts or podcast episodes or YouTube videos, et cetera. Obviously, we talk about that in another season. But for Evergreen, this funnel is really what's going to build that know, like, and trust factor, which is going to increase your sales. Plus, it's kind of this win-win because yes, it's better for you, but it's also better for your customers because you're able to meet people where they are. So if you only live launch, you may be forcing people to make a decision that's not right for them in that moment. Like, I know that I've joined courses because I know they're only offered once a year. And it's really not the right time for me. I'm about to go on maternity leave, or I have a big, vacation coming up, or whatever. It just is not right for me at that moment, but I don't want to miss out. And so I end up like being almost forced into this decision that's really not right for me because I know that's my only chance. And I don't really want to do that to my customers because when I've been on the receiving end, I know how shitty it feels. Um, so by the same token, you may not be able to meet their needs. So, for example, let's say you have a course that's focused on pregnancy, or you have a program that helps people through a divorce or something like that. When they need that support, they need it now. Like, you're only pregnant for 9 months. So if you only open, if I missed your window and you open a year later, 8, 10 months later, it's like, well, I don't need this anymore.
Yeah.
So you can't really meet their needs when you're only doing this like 1, 2 times a year launch. And I also just think about like, if you only launch once a year, you probably have your cart open for like a week. And what if somebody's on vacation or they just had a baby or it's COVID and what for whatever reason they're just not ready. So Evergreen is going to give them more opportunities to give your audience what they want exactly when they want it. They don't have to wait months to be able to get the solution they're looking for. They want it right now. So I really like the fact that it's better for your customers as well. And along those same lines, I think that it's when you give people this limited time window that they can purchase. Um, I think it actually, and this is what one of my mentors, Mariah Kaz, has taught me, is like it's really one of the kindest things you can do because by giving them this limited decision making window, it forces them to make a decision one way or the other rather than keeping their minds constantly going about, like, oh, should I do it? Should I not? And you know how like I've been in that limbo before where it's like I could do it anytime. So I'll do it never or I'll do it tomorrow and then you're just like in that limbo. And when you are using an evergreen funnel and you're giving people a limited time offer, you like end the madness for them basically. So then, of course, one of the best reasons to do an evergreen funnel is because you'll make more money. So, not only will you be able to make money every single day versus a few times a year only, but when compared to having your product available to buy at any time, you'll sell way more using limited time windows. And then finally, I feel like there's so much leverage that comes from an evergreen funnel that allows you to actually enjoy your work and your life more. Because instead of constantly preparing for the next launch or feeling like you're always having to sell to your people, you're always having to remind them to like, hey, go check out my course. Hey, go do this thing. You've taken out all those variables. Now you've got an automated system that sells your courses year round every day. So your job isn't pitching and selling all day. Now it can be creating fun new content for your audience or getting new people into your funnel or even not working and doing whatever else it is that you want to do with your life, knowing that you're still making sales in the background and it's all done in advance. So that's the power of evergreen funnels. I couldn't love them more. And like I've said before, I used to do the live launch method and I did about 3 live launches. And then when I went evergreen, which was purely a strategy so that I could take maternity leave, and I fully intended to live launch again once I came back. Once I saw how amazing it was, I was like, I am never live launching again if I can help it. So gets you out of that feast or famine growth cycle. And it's just so much more consistent and stable and easy. You don't have these extreme highs and lows. Once you get it going, it's much more predictable and you get that sustainable growth that I think we're all looking for. We know that live launching is really exhausting and depleting, and it taxes our central nervous system because you're constantly going up and down, up and down. And live launching results in that feast or famine cycle. And it's just hard. And just being evergreen, but just being evergreen and not using an evergreen funnel is going to result in fewer sales. So you need to give people a reason to buy now. And that's where creating authentic scarcity and urgency comes in. So remember, people will delay making a decision until they absolutely have to. Buyers do what their instincts tell them to do, which is to act immediately on what is important and urgent and to acquire what is limited, which is the scarcity piece. And there's a lot of, psychological marketing things that go into this, but I just kind of like to think of it as human nature is doing nothing is so much easier and less risky than taking action. So I think of that when I'm like trying to figure out, okay, what's the deadline? Why am I doing this? How do I ethically and authentically create this urgency and scarcity that we know works. I just remember like what human nature is like we want to give them a reason to take an action. So, in order to do this, you need to use a tech tool that allows you to give every individual person their own unique deadline and timer within your funnel. So, for example, if Molly enters my funnel on Monday, March 15th, and we have a 7-day cart open window, her offer window is going to expire on Monday, March 22nd. But if Susie enters my funnel on Wednesday, May 5th, her offer window is going to expire on Wednesday, May 12th. So every single person is going to have a different cart open window and cart close time, and everything will be unique to that individual person. And one of the things that you have to make sure you're doing in order to make this really work and to do it authentically and to feel an integrity, like you're not just cheating your customers or tricking them into buying something, is that after the offer expires, you need a reliable way to ensure it's actually no longer available, because you don't want to create fake urgency. You don't want to say, "Hey Molly, your cart closes on Monday, March 22nd," and then on Monday, or the next few days later, Molly goes and clicks the link and she can still buy. That's going to leave a horrible taste in her mouth. It's going to lose all that trust. And so you have to have a way to do this that is authentic. This is true urgency. And also that is automated so that you're not manually having to keep track of all of these people. Because if you imagine at a certain point, you're going to have hundreds of people going through your funnels at all times, and you could never keep up with that manually. So the good news is that there are 2 software tools I know of that do this really complicated work for you, and they do it really well. Now, the first one is called Deadline Funnel, and it works with almost all email service providers. If you don't have one, I have 2 email service providers that I recommend. And if you're going to go the Deadline Funnel route, I would recommend using ActiveCampaign. However, I use Kartra. I recently moved to this system in 2020. It is an all-in-one platform. It does all of this and so much more for you. And it makes it so much easier to have it all in one place. And we'll kind of get into the tech in a little bit. But the gist here is that there are these 2 tools available that allow you to create this real urgency where you're making an offer, you're specifying a deadline, and you're removing the offer when that deadline comes. So it's real, but you're using automated tools to implement it. So that is one of the best ways to create true, authentic scarcity and urgency. Some other ways that I like to do this inside of the funnel itself is by adding in some bonuses. So, some great bonuses can be like early bird bonuses or fast action bonuses. These are great ways to authentically increase that urgency and reward people for taking action. And to me, I like that the psychology of it better because it feels like you're rewarding people for taking action rather than punishing people for not taking action. So, that would be something like cart opens today, and if you buy in the next 24 hours, you'll get this bonus or this discount or whatever it is that's something extra that you're going to give people if they purchase in that window. So that would be on top of the fact that the course is only, or your program is only available during that time. So at the end, you have to figure out, well, so what goes away at the end of the deadline? And there's a few different ways that you could do this. The way that I do it now, and this is after testing a few different ways, is that they're in the cart open window. Let's say it's 7 days. And at the end of the 7 days, what happens? So for me, I think the most effective thing to do is that your product itself goes away. They cannot buy your product at all anymore until you open it up again. Um, and there's an automated way to do this as well. So we'll get into that too. But there are other ways you can do this. And I know, for example, Amy Porterfield has her List Builder Society. It is on an Evergreen funnel. Technically, you can purchase the course at any time, but if you are inside her funnel, she offers special bonuses. So at the end of her deadline timer, your bonuses expire, but the product is still available to purchase. You just don't get the bonuses. So that's another option. A third option would be maybe you offer a discount inside of your funnel. So this is how I used to do things with 6FBA. I would say, um, you could go to the website at any time and you could purchase it at the time. I think it was for $12.97. And then if you were inside of our funnel, you got a $300 off discount if you purchased in those 7 days. And at the end of those 7 days, it was like, your discount is gone. Now you can, if you still want to buy the course, you can, but you missed the sale basically. This worked well. But I didn't love it because I felt like it created a lot of questions. And then sometimes people would write in and say, like, they don't understand. Customers are not going to understand your marketing funnels. So you'd get a lot more questions where people would be like, I thought the course was $9.97. Now it's $12.97. Or, oh, I just missed the window by 3 days. Could you give it to me for this price still? And I just didn't love the way that it felt, and I didn't like discounting my products and then teaching people to wait for a sale to buy my stuff. So I decided to try a different way with like, okay, it's just going to go away altogether. And this is much simpler now. I like it much better, and it reduces for sure the amount of questions and confusion that people have. And the note that I have at the bottom here is like A/B test if you're not sure what you want to do, and really sit with this and take time to think about what feels right to you. There's definitely no one size fits all. And so you need to do like what feels most in integrity with your values and what you feel like would serve both you and your audience the best. But these are some of the like most common options that I see. Take the whole thing away, just bonuses expire, or a discount expires, but the product is still available. Um, so my vote, simplest, most streamlined, everything just goes away.